My stepbrother defrauded me of a loan, and my parents evicted him. My home is hell. The California sun always carries a sweet warmth, but the light filtering through the kitchen blinds today felt like it had shards of ice mixed in. I held the freshly baked blueberry muffins and watched Liam walk in from the entrance. His dark gray hoodie was dotted with morning dew, and his signature curly hair was a messy heap on his forehead. That casual look always made everyone in the family let their guard down around him. "Ella, my little lifesaver," he flashed me a bright smile, grabbing a muffin and shoving it into his mouth. His words came out muffled. "You know about my custom auto shop plan, right? I just need one last chunk of startup capital." I stirred the oat milk in my mug, my heartbeat slowing a beat. Liam was my stepmother Susan's son, and we'd lived together for 8 years. 5 years older than me, he'd always stepped up when I got bullied by girls at school, given me my first Dior lipstick for my 18th birthday, and even slipped me $200 when I got docked pay for being late to my part-time job last year. These small moments of warmth were especially precious in this cold blended family. My dad Richard's gaze always rested on Liam. When talking about college funds, he'd blurt out, "My son is going to start a company someday." Susan would even save all the steak in the fridge for Liam, leaving me with leftover pasta from the day before, claiming it was good for a girl to watch her figure. But even so, Liam's kindness made me think there might still be a place for me in this family. "But I don't have much money," I said quietly. "I've saved all my scholarships for tuition. I don't need you to fork over cash, I just need to borrow your credit score." Liam pulled out a chair and sat across from me, his eyes brimming with earnestness. "The bank said my credit history has a blemish because I co-signed a phone bill for a friend. But you're different, you've never missed a payment, and your social security number is as clean as a blank slate. Just help me sign a joint loan agreement, and once the shop turns a profit, I'll pay it back right away, principal plus interest." I frowned, my fingertips going cold. In the finance class I took last year, the professor had repeatedly emphasized the risks of joint loans. If the primary borrower defaults, the co-borrower has to take full responsibility. But Liam was looking at me with those blue eyes, just like Susan's, his tone taking on a coquettish lilt. "Just do me this favor, sis. When you graduate and job hunt, I'll hook you up with the best corporate connections in Los Angeles. And Dad and Susan already know about this. At dinner yesterday, Dad even said I should go all out and not let him down." His words were like a reassurance pill. I remembered that Richard had indeed patted Liam on the shoulder at the dinner table a few days earlier, saying, "Young people need to be bold." Even Susan had rarely been kind enough to pass me a piece of bread, remarking, "Siblings should look out for each other." Those unusual displays of warmth now became reasons for me to trust him. Those words completely dispelled my doubts. While Dad Richard had always been distant with me, he'd never been careless about money matters. And even if Susan favored Liam, she wouldn't joke around with the family's finances. I followed Liam into his room, where he opened his laptop to a pre-prepared loan application. "It's just a formality," he said. "See, the amount is $50,000. I've already filled in my info, you just need to sign here and enter your social security number." The cursor blinked over the electronic signature button. I hesitated for 2 seconds before finally entering my information. Liam patted my shoulder and handed me an iced Americano. "Don't worry. When the shop opens next month, I'll take you to Santa Monica Beach for seafood." The sun was really shining that day, so bright that I missed the flicker of panic in his eyes. Trouble came calling when I was writing a paper in the UCLA library. My phone vibrated 3 times in a row, all from an unknown number associated with Chase Bank. I thought it was a sales call until the 4th vibration, when "Delinquent Payment Notice" popped up on the screen. "Is this Ms. Ella White?" The voice on the other end was cold and mechanical, like a chisel shattering my peaceful life in an instant. "The $50,000 joint loan you applied for with Mr. Liam Cole is 30 days past due. The principal plus late fees totals $53,200. Please settle this within 3 business days, otherwise we will report this to the credit bureau and take legal action. I practically stumbled out of the library, hailing an Uber to rush home. I called Liam repeatedly on the way, but the only sound I got was the automated message, "The number you are trying to reach is temporarily unavailable." The moment I pushed open the door, I saw Dad and Susan sitting on the living room sofa, their faces darker than the storm clouds outside. "How dare you come back?" Richard slammed a stack of collection notices on the coffee table, scattering the papers everywhere. "The bank called my office. Do you know how much this damages my reputation? I didn't take out that loan, Liam tricked me into signing it." I grabbed the collection notices, my fingers white from gripping them so tight. "You both knew about this." At dinner the other night, Dad was encouraging him to start his business, and Susan, "You said we should look out for each other." I looked urgently at Richard, hoping he would step forward to prove my innocence, but he just turned his head away, avoiding my gaze. Susan suddenly shrieked, "Stop slandering people. When did I ever say that? You're just jealous that Liam has our love, so you set him up. Look at those Chanel bags and designer lipsticks in your room. Did you buy them with the loan money?" She pointed toward my room, her voice shrill like nails on a chalkboard. "I always knew you had a twisted heart, staring at Liam's things all day. Now your true colors are finally showing." I froze. Those things were birthday and Christmas gifts from Liam. At the time, Susan had even smiled and said, "You two have such a great sibling bond." I hurried to explain, "Those were gifts from Liam. I have payment records to prove I never bought anything this expensive." I turned to get the transaction records on my phone, but Richard suddenly slammed his fist on the table, roaring, "Enough with the lies. Liam has been sensible since he was a kid, how could he trick you? Do you think I don't know what's in your head? You're just mad we favor him, so you deliberately caused this mess to get back at us." His words hit me like a sledgehammer, making my head spin. As I looked at his livid face, I saw for the first time the unmistakable disgust in his eyes. "Whatever the story, your name and social security number are on the loan contract." Richard stood up, straightening his suit jacket as if I were some trash that had soiled his clothes. "Now the bank will only hold you accountable. The Whites are a respected family in Pasadena, we can't let you ruin our reputation. Move out today, and don't ever claim to know us again." Move out? I couldn't believe my ears, my voice trembling. "This is my home. My mom's things are still upstairs. Liam tricked me, and you're not blaming him, you're kicking me out? Dad, look at me. I'm Ella." I tried to grab his arm, but he shoved me away in revulsion. My wrist hit the corner of the coffee table, a sharp pain shooting through it. "Don't call me Dad," he said coldly. "I don't have a malicious daughter like you." Susan took the chance to push me toward the door, her nails digging almost into my flesh. "Quit your nonsense. We already packed your things. Oh, and those old things of your mom's? They took up space and weren't worth anything, so I had the junk collectors take them away." I spun around, staring at her in disbelief, but she lifted her chin triumphantly. "Don't hate us either. Blame yourself for being so stupid, trusting people so easily. If you have any conscience left, find a way to pay off the loan yourself and don't drag our whole family down with you." My suitcase was dumped by the entrance, its zipper undone, my clothes spilling out and mixing with the dust on the floor. I looked at the house I'd lived in for 18 years, my 10-year-old drawing of our family portrait on the wall had long been covered by Liam's racing posters. Back then, Mom was still alive, and Dad would lift me onto his shoulders, laughing and calling me, "my little princess." 3 years after Mom died, Dad married Susan, who moved in with Liam. I learned to be obedient and sensible. I gave Liam my favorite strawberry cake, saved my scholarship to buy Dad birthday gifts, thinking that would keep a little bit of his fatherly love. But now I realized, they'd always seen me as an outsider, someone who was wasting Liam's resources. The moment I stepped onto Palm Street, it started to rain. California rains always come suddenly, carrying a biting chill. I dragged my suitcase aimlessly down the street when my phone rang again. This time, it was a text from Liam. "Ella, I'm sorry. My investment fell through, and I'm lying low in Mexico. You'll have to cover the loan for now, but I'll pay you back once I get back on my feet." A location pin in Tijuana, Mexico, was attached. I deleted the text and stuffed my phone in my pocket. The rain soaked my hair and clothes, and the suitcase wheels scraped loudly against the sidewalk. I passed a convenience store and went in to buy a cup of hot cocoa, warming my hands while trying to figure out what to do next. The $50,000 in debt hung over me like a mountain, and my credit score already had a black mark, something that would seriously hurt my job prospects after graduation next year. I thought of my roommate Claire, who rented an apartment near campus. I called her, sobbing as I told her what had happened. "Come stay with me first," Claire's voice was warm. "I have a spare room in my apartment. You can move in, and we'll figure something out together." The first thing I did after moving into Claire's apartment was go to the bank to explain the situation. But the bank staff told me the joint loan agreement was legally binding. Unless I could prove I'd been defrauded, I was liable for the full payment. I reported it to the police, but they said it was a civil dispute and I needed to provide evidence of Liam's fraud. But Liam was long gone, and all I had was the loan contract itself. To earn money for the loan, I took on every part-time job I could find. I attended classes during the day, waited tables at a restaurant at night, and worked as a shopping mall salesperson on weekends. I'd never had to worry about money before, but now I counted every penny. Claire always comforted me, saying everything would get better, but I knew a credit blemish takes 7 years to clear. In those 7 years, I might not even be able to get a credit card, let alone a good job. One day at the restaurant, I ran into Mr. Davis, one of Dad's colleagues. When he saw me in a waiter's uniform, carrying heavy plates between tables, his eyes filled with surprise and sympathy. "Ella, what are you doing here?" He pulled me to a corner and whispered, "Your dad's been tearing his hair out over Liam lately. Liam owes money to a local gang in Mexico, and they've even tracked him to Los Angeles. Susan cries all day, saying she never should have let him take such risks. Your dad's blood pressure's been through the roof, and he even said, if Ella were here, she'd definitely help us figure something out." I almost dropped the plate in my hand. Hot soup splashed onto the back of my hand, but I didn't feel the pain. So they did worry about Liam, they just pushed me out when responsibility was involved, and remembered me only when they needed help. Mr. Davis kept saying, "Your dad actually cares about you," but all I felt was absurdity. If he cared, would he kick me out after I got scammed into a loan? If he cared, would he let Susan throw away my mom's things? That's when I realized, my hope for this family bond had always been a joke. The restaurant closed early on Christmas Eve. As I walked home, I saw warm lights glowing from every house, accompanied by laughter. Claire texted me, saying her mom had made turkey and asked me to come over for dinner. I stood under a street lamp, staring at the message, and finally let the tears flow. Just then, my phone rang, an unknown Mexican number. I hesitated for a moment before answering. "Ella, it's me, Liam," his voice was hoarse. "I got scammed here in Tijuana. I don't have a cent left. Can you lend me some money?" I laughed, tears streaming down my face. "Liam," I said calmly. "You tricked me into being homeless, and now I owe the bank over $50,000. I work 3 jobs just to get by. Do you really think I have money to lend you? But we're siblings." He sounded desperate. "You can't just leave me to die." "Siblings?" I raised my voice. "When you tricked me into signing that loan? When you ran off with the money? When my parents kicked me out, where were you then?" Liam, the moment you lied to me, we stopped being siblings. I hung up and blocked the number. Looking up, the rain had stopped, and a full moon hung in the sky, casting cold silver light. I clenched my fists, silently vowing to pay off the loan on my own and start over. After New Year's, I got an internship as an assistant at a financial consulting firm. The pay wasn't great, but it gave me access to a lot of professional knowledge. I used most of my salary to pay down the loan and lived frugally on the rest. Claire felt sorry for me and always brought me leftovers from her home, claiming she couldn't finish them. Just then, Richard suddenly called me, his tone unusually gentle. Ella, Dad knows we wronged you before. Come home, there will always be a place for you here. Liam knows he was wrong too, he'll apologize to you when he gets back. My heart skipped a beat as I held the phone, then I let out a cold laugh. Later, Mr. Davis told me the bank had not only sued me but also frozen some of Richard's assets because he'd provided implicit guarantees for Liam's shop. His sudden kindness had nothing to do with fatherly love, he just wanted me to take on more of the debt. I refused outright, hung up, and blocked all contact with him and Susan. Soon after, I received a court summons, notifying me of the bank's lawsuit. I lay awake all night before the hearing, but Claire went with me, holding my hand and saying, "Don't be scared. The truth will always be on our side." In court, I submitted all the evidence I had, Liam's text messages, our chat logs, Mr. Davis's testimony, and the spending records I'd found proving Liam had wasted the loan money, casino bills from Mexico, which I'd asked a netizen there to track down. After hearing my statement, the judge adjourned the court to deliberate on the verdict. I was on tenterhooks during the wait. Then one day, a court official called to tell me Liam had been arrested by Mexican police and confessed to fraud. The bank had also agreed to negotiate a repayment plan with me. I was wiping tables at the restaurant when I heard the news, the rag slipped from my hand. I squatted down, tears flowing silently. This time, they were tears of relief. In the end, the bank agreed to reduce the loan to $30,000, which I could pay off in 2 years. It was still a burden, but I could see hope. I worked even harder, my performance improved steadily, and I was offered a full-time position after the internship with a raise. One evening on my way home from work, I passed Palm Street. The familiar house had its lights on, and a gap in the curtains revealed Susan sobbing into the phone while Richard sat nearby smoking, his hair noticeably grayer. They were probably still worrying about Liam, maybe even blaming me for being unfilial. I didn't stop or even slow down. Once, I'd thought this house was my safe haven, a place I could rely on. Now I understood, home isn't a building. It's the people who stand by you when you're going through hell. The California sun shone on me again, warm and bright. I knew the cold winter on Palm Street was finally over, and my spring had only just begun.